Okay. Yes, ma'am. Drew County. Okay. Where's Monticello? If you're in Monticello, she's over here. And we would love to be able to help you out of any of our tea parties. If you're closer to Hot Springs, we'll work with you. Okay. I was a little premature on Kim. He is in the building. This is great. And he did say that he wanted to start in late because he had a sales meeting and he was going to get here late. I was shuffling the notes and got him a little bit early, but if you don't mind, my new friend, as the introduction that I just gave, he sat and visited with us and took the time and became a supporter of the Tea Party. I'd like to introduce Kim Hankey.
Good afternoon.
God bless you.
I'm honored to have the privilege to speak with you this afternoon. As you may know, I sell siding, among other things. We operate a family business, and like many of you, we've experienced some difficulty in the last 18 months or so. We've had numerous layoffs, many of whom were not only family, but like family to me. It would have been easier to accept if I knew that things were getting better, but they're not. In fact, it's hard not to believe that the people responsible are working hard to make things worse. As Ronald Reagan said, big government is like a baby. An alimentary canal with a big appetite at one end and no sense of responsibility at the other. This whole mess started with a group of congressmen tampering with our financial sector and enacting short-sighted regulations in the name of reform. The subsequent efforts of this Congress and this administration have only dug the hole deeper. It's time for our elected officials to do their jobs and to represent we the people. To restore our economy and to protect our liberties, not squander them. To quote from the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. For decades, our government has encroached upon our unalienable rights, and it's time to exercise our rights, as our founding fathers intended. It's time to exercise our right to alter any form of government that becomes destructive of these ends. It's our history, our heritage, and our obligation as Americans to become actively involved in our political futures. I'm honored to stand with men like Bob Porto and Bishop Robert Smith and many others like them today in this great hall, to call upon everyone to take action today. I thank Bob and all those who have risen to the occasion and helped make the Tea Party of Arkansas a reality. This voice is not of a few, but of many. More than ever, our country needs you. Our children need you. To make the voice heard not only here, but in Washington. The great principles that gave birth to the Constitution and those that have been in tune with an expanding republic for centuries include sovereignty of the people and rule by a clear-cut majority. The representatives we send to Washington are supposed to represent we the people. But if the people we put in office are not accountable to us, is the country being governed by a clear-cut majority? Or have a minority of special interest groups who wield power and influence abrogated rule by a majority? We have virtually abandoned the precepts and principles that made this country great. We have passively observed with awe a gradual shift to socialism. However, because of what we are doing here today and what others like us are doing all around this nation, we have sent a resounding message that our representatives are in clear and present danger. And that this majority will no longer remain silent, and that we will hold our representatives accountable to our voices and our concerns. When our president took his oath of office, he said, "I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States." In an article by Thomas Sowell entitled "Dismantling America," he writes, and I quote, "Just 1 year ago, would you have believed that an unelected government official, not even a cabinet member confirmed by the Senate, but simply one of the many czars appointed by the President, could arbitrarily cut the pay of executives in private businesses by 50 or 90%? Did you think that another czar would be talking about restricting talk radio? That there would be plans afloat to subsidize newspapers, that is, to create a situation where some newspapers' survival would depend on government liking what they publish? Did you ever imagine that anyone would even be talking about having a panel of so-called experts deciding who could and could not get life-saving medical treatment? Scary as that is from a medical standpoint, it's also a chilling thing from a standpoint of freedom. If you have a mother who needs a heart operation or a child with some dire medical condition, how free would you feel to speak out against an administration that has the power to make life and death decisions about your loved ones?